Welcome to Rewired for Love. I am your host, JaCarie Owens, licensed mental health counselor, EMDR basic training coach and consultant, group practice owner and supervisor at Courageous Minds Counseling, relational trauma expert, and the most important one, your honest but loving homegirl therapist who's not afraid to talk about the messy parts of healing. Around here, we talk about all things nobody taught us growing up, how our attachment styles show up in love, why our nervous system acts like a fool sometimes, and what it really takes to feel safe in our bodies. So this is not about perfection. It's about learning to love yourself in real time with grace, boundaries, and a little bit of humor. So take a deep breath. Get comfy, because we don't chase chaos, we choose calm. And this is Rewired for Love. Hey sis, welcome back to Rewired for Love. Last episode, we talked about what it really means to reparent yourself. Not that, Instagram aesthetic sense of bubble baths and affirmations, but as a really deep commitment to your adult leadership inside your emotional world. We landed on the powerful truth that your inner child isn't acting out or being dramatic. She's been running the show for a long time. And quite frankly, she's been doing her best with what she had. And today, we're going to go a little bit deeper into that. Because before you can teach your inner child anything new, you have to understand the environment she came from, the attachment blueprint that taught her what love, safety, and connection looked like. So we're talking about that anxious part, that shutdown part, that hyper-independent part, that still waiting for love to feel safe part. This is meeting your inner child, the parts of your attachment left behind. Now listen, before we go any further, I need to say this with love. If you do not meet your inner child honestly, she will keep showing up in your relationships, but not to sabotage, but to be seen. So today, we're going to slow it way down. Not to romanticize your pain, but to understand how it shaped your survival. So to get started, go ahead and take that deep breath in. Slowly drop your shoulders. As usual, unclench that jaw. You're not meeting weakness today. You are meeting strength that grew out of survival. So let's start with some grounding in attachment theory. Because to understand your inner child, you have to have at least a basic understanding of attachment. Your inner child is the part of you that early on figured out the answers to some of our big lifelong questions and some of our feelings or need for survival. If we're thinking of those hierarchy of needs, this falls into that. And so these questions are, am I safe? Can I rely on others? Are my needs important? And am I lovable just as I am? And what we know about attachment theory is that it teaches us that kids don't internalize what parents meant. They internalize what they experienced over and over and over again. So when we talk about your inner child, we're talking about a living emotional record of how your nervous system learned to love under pressure. And here's the hard truth. Your attachment style isn't a flaw. I know that it gets a little bad rep and people based on your attachment style start to judge. But the reality of it is, your attachment style is a solution that your system created. If love was inconsistent, your anxious part learned to cling on, thinking that if I stay close enough, maybe they won't leave. If your emotions were dismissed, your avoidant part learned to shut down or to do everything alone. If love was both soothing and scary, your disorganized parts learn to stay hyper-aware, torn between approach or retreat. And in IFS language, those are parts. pieces of you that form through attachment. They learn what to do to find love, to avoid pain, and to stay connected even when it hurts. And that's why, even when you know better, you still react and you still don't do better. That's not weakness. That's attachment memory stored not in logic, but in your body. So what is an inner child versus like your protective part? I want to talk a little bit about internal family systems in this piece because it gives us language for the team inside of you. Your inner child is just one member of the team. She's usually surrounded by protectors, and those are parts that usually step in to manage pain that she couldn't bear alone. So for an example, when your anxious child fears abandonment, a hypervigilant protector might start checking text, tone, and vibes like it's a job. If your avoidant child feels overwhelmed, a protector might say, shut it all down, keeping you detached and untouchable. And if your disorganized child feels unsafe in both closeness and distance, your protector might swing between come here and leave me alone. Now, let's be real, sis. For Black women, a lot of those protector parts got praise growing up. And it was named. It was named for us, like the strong one, the independent one, the backbone of the family, the one who never lets them see her sweat. So when healing asks you to soften, those parts sounded alarms because for them, strength equaled survival. But here's the truth. Reparenting doesn't mean exiling your protectors. It's saying thank you for all that you have done. You don't have to carry the weight anymore. And you may be wondering, how does attachment wounds show up in my adult life? I am grown. I'm functioning. I'm doing what I need to do. How would you even say that they're showing up? Well, let's make this plain and simple. Your inner child doesn't come out and say, hey girl, I'm your attachment wound. She shows up in patterns, such as overthinking the timing of a text, shutting down the moment conflict arises, feeling unseen even when someone's trying, chasing unavailable partners and calling it chemistry. That's your body remembering how love once felt. So the hard truth is, your inner child keeps choosing familiar pain and familiar attachment, not healthy attachment. If love used to mean overperforming, you'll overgive. If love used to come and go, you'll chase. If love used to feel suffocating, you're going to withdraw. This doesn't mean that you're broken. It means that your system learned a pattern. Meeting your inner child sounds like this. I see why you learned that. I get it. And I'm here to show you another way. That is reparenting, not rewriting your past, but reintroducing safety in your nervous system. So let's take a moment to meet your inner child. If it feels safe, close your eyes. Take a deep breath, full breath in and out. Now bring forward the image of you and your younger self. Not the polished school photo version of you, but that real, raw one. The one who carried too much. The one who carried too much responsibility. The one who felt invisible, or too loud, or too emotional. Notice her facial expressions, her shoulders, her energy. And I want you to ask her quietly, what were you protecting yourself from? What did you need that never came? What did you start believing about love because of that? Now imagine your adult self, calm, grounded, wise, stepping forward, not to fix her, but to lead her. Say to her, with a tenderness you never got, I see how hard you tried to get love. You did everything you knew how to do. You can rest now. I'm here. Notice what changes in her. Change in her expression, in her body. That's the moment of reparenting. Not rescuing or reliving, just reorganizing your attachment from the inside out. And when you are ready, let that part know that they can come back anytime and that their needs matter. Take a deep breath and let it out. When we're talking about reparenting, you can do that day to day. So daily reparenting through attachment awareness. What does that look like day to day? It looks like when you feel overwhelmed, pause and ask, which attachment part just took the wheel? When you want to shut down, ask, what feels unsafe in this moment? When you feel like you want to chase, I need you to ask, what reassurance am I actually needing? Here's the real talk. If you don't learn to soothe your inner child, you will keep asking your partner or your job or your friends to do it for you. Your adult self must become your secure base. That's where attachment starts to heal. So let's land this plane a little softly. Your inner child isn't the problem. She's evidence that love mattered to you. And what she needs now is your leadership, not perfection, just presence. You don't have to erase your attachment style. You're just updating it, teaching your system that safety doesn't require suffering. And here are your affirmations for the week to hold on to that. I can offer myself secure attachment. I can lead my inner world with clarity. I am learning to love without survival. Next week, we're diving into the inner critic, because that harsh self-talk you think is discipline is really letting us down. It's really part of the problem. Am I the problem? Yes, the inner critic is the problem. And for many, that's actually a protective part. That learned shame equals safety. So we're going to unpack that with grace. Until then, sis, be gentle, be honest, and remember, you're not too much. You were just taught to love with not enough. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Rewired for Love. If today's conversation resonated with you, share with someone you care about, or take a moment to leave a review. Your feedback helps this community to grow and keeps these healing conversations flowing. You can also follow me and come hang out with me on all socials, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all of them at Rewired for Love Podcast. Go there to get your daily doses of healing, honesty, and a whole lot of love. Until next time, keep listening to your body, lead with compassion, and remember, you are safe enough to love and be loved.